Welcome to video 3.6 in our First Principles of Astrophotography series. In this video, we'll discuss how to avoid moonlight.
Dodging the moon. Moonlight can brighten the sky background, reduce contrast, and obscure faint details even after the moon sets and before it rises.
Yeah, we were out in Treasurton one time with my grandson, and the moon set, and it was pretty close to full, and the sky really wasn't dark.
Yeah.
It was still light, so I think really honestly you have to wait till the moon's below 18 degrees, the same as the sun. Maybe not quite that far, but yeah, it does have an effect even when it sets, when it's near full.
Huge.
This video is based on section 3.6 of our First Principles of Astrophotography book, which is linked in the description below.
I'm Ren Edwards.
And I'm Boyd Edwards.
Let's talk sensor sensibility. Principle 38, new moon. New moon is when the moon is between the Earth and the sun. When the illuminated half of the moon faces away from the Earth. Near new moon, most of the night is moonless, and the moon is a slender crescent. The days surrounding new moon are ideal for deep sky astrophotography. Principle 39, full moon. Full moon is when the Earth is between the moon and the sun. When the illuminated half of the moon faces the Earth, and the moon is a brightly illuminated disk. Near full moon, the moon is up most of the night. The days surrounding full moon are poorly suited for deep sky astrophotography.
That's right. Okay, so new moon. So this is new here. Here's the sun. Here's the Earth. And here's the moon. So at new moon, at a near new moon, the moon is between the sun and the Earth. And the sun is illuminating this half of the Earth, and this part of the Earth is dark. That's the way that works. The sun always illuminates half of the Earth. The side of the Earth that's closest to the sun. That's the way that works.
Yes, yeah.
It's kind of...
That's physics, I guess.
Yeah, that's definitely physics, yeah. So, this is great for astrophotography because the moon sets approximately when the sun sets, and the moon rises approximately when the sun rises. So you have pretty much all night free of moonlight, and you're looking out here at celestial objects on the night side of the Earth. This is where you and your telescope are in the middle of the night looking out at celestial objects.
Man, what a great graphic. That's so
Yeah,
good.
that's awesome. So here's full moon. Here's the sun again up here, the Earth, and the moon. So now when you're sitting here, so again, the dark side of the Earth, the night side of the Earth is the side of the Earth that's opposite the sun, because the sun's illuminating this half of the Earth, and this half of the Earth is in shadow. So now you're sitting here at midnight with a full moon, and you're trying to look at objects, celestial objects out here in the night sky.
He means astronomical midnight.
I mean astronomical midnight. Yes, I do. But you got this object in the sky here that from your perspective, you're standing right here, you're looking out here trying to see these celestial objects, and you got this, you're looking at the lit side of the moon. And that's illuminating the sky. I mean, that light from that lit side of the moon is hitting our atmosphere, which causes the whole atmosphere to light up. And you're just not going to get as good resolution, or you're not going to get as good contrast. Ultimately, you're just
no matter where it is in the sky at that time, it's still going to be...
Yeah, its light is going to be shining down, hitting the atmosphere, and obscuring your view. And so this is what you see in the sky for a new moon. The reason, I'm sorry, for a full moon. So for a new moons always occur in the day. They don't occur at night. And that's because for the moon to be between the Earth and the sun, you're talking about daytime here. Yeah, so I think that's everything I need to say. Oh yes, we need to talk about first quarter, the last quarter, et cetera, et cetera. So the clock starts ticking at new moon. And then the moon's cycles are divided into 4 cycles. So this is called the first quarter moon. Here's a full moon. That would be, you could think about it, that's being the second quarter.
Yeah, you're not very good at math. That's 1/2.
Right, equals 1/2. And then the last quarter, 3 quarters. And then when you're back to new moon again, you're at 4/4, which is back to 0, because the cycle then repeats itself. So you're doing pretty well in doing astronomical viewing between a new moon and a first quarter moon, because the moon is a slender crescent, and at first quarter moon you see half of the moon illuminated in the sky, and then after that this is really no bueno around the
No me gusta.
moon. But then during the last quarter, when the moon is less than half illuminated and maybe just a little bit of a waning crescent, that's usually okay for observing too. I don't know, we're lucky enough to live in Utah where it's a desert, but still we go months with I'm sure we're not alone in the world, but we go months with cloudy skies, and then when it does clear up, it's a full moon, and that's just life.
Yep.
That's what we deal with. Okay, eclipses.
Principle 40, eclipses. Solar and lunar eclipses do not occur at every new and full moon, respectively, because the moon's orbit around the Earth is tilted relative to the Earth's orbit around the sun. A little technical.
Yeah, it's a little technical, but you might look at this figure and say, well, hang on just a minute. At new moon, right here, if you can see that, the sun should be shining on the moon, and the moon should be casting its shadow on the Earth. So there ought to be and the moon, therefore, from our perspective on the Earth, should be blocking out the sun. So that's called a solar eclipse. Why doesn't that happen? And the reason is that this plane of the moon's orbit around the Earth does not exactly coincide with the plane of the Earth's orbit around the sun. So we got a graphic on this as well. So this plane right here is the plane of the Earth's orbit around the sun. It's called the ecliptic. It's the plane of Earth's orbit around the sun. But this plane right here is the plane on the moon's orbit. It says it right there. Around the Earth. So this plane here is tilted with respect to the other. So here's the moon, here's the Earth, here's the sun, and we're at new moon here, right? Because the moon and the sun are in the same place in the sky, and they rise and set at roughly the same time. But this shadow cast by the moon misses the Earth because those planes are tilted with respect to each other. Whereas this is called a line of nodes. When during the cycle of the year, there's a solar eclipse when those two planes intersect. So this is the plane of the Earth, the moon's orbit around the Earth, and where it intersects with the plane of the Earth's orbit around the sun, then you can get solar and lunar eclipses. So yeah, a little bit technical maybe, but that's why you don't get, I mean, otherwise, if those two planes coincided with each other exactly, you get a solar eclipse and a lunar eclipse every single month.
So the moon doesn't have a wobble as it's going around the Earth. It doesn't go wibble, wobble, wibble, wobble, but it's just not perfectly on with the rotation of the Earth around the sun.
Yeah, so the Earth's going around the sun like this, the moon's going around the Earth like this.
Yes, right.
And they just don't line up. That's all there is to it.
Principle 41, new moon observing. This is a good one. At new moon, deep sky objects whose opposition dates match the observing date are well placed for all night viewing.
So that's kind of a no-brainer. So if we...
It's where I want to live, though.
It's where you want to live. I want to live there too. Most of all of us do. So right now, as the day of this shooting is October 2025, we did these calculations for a July 24th new moon. And you can look up new moon in any one of a number of places. I mean, my watch, my Garmin can show when the new moons are. So you just figure out when the new moon is and then plan your observing around that. So there was a new moon last July 24th. And if you want to get like optimal conditions for perfect observing, then you'd look for an object whose opposition date, that's what we talked about in the previous video, matches the observing date that you're going to be observing. So if we want to observe on July 24th, let's look for an object, wherever you want to look, with a date of opposition that's close to that date. And so the Crescent Nebula is a good choice because it has July 23rd opposition date. So this is our observing targets list. And we're going to say, I think in the very next video, we're going to say a little bit more about this, but we list the dates of opposition here, the month and the day of opposition of those objects, determined using the wheel of opposition formula that we came up with. All right, let's talk about third quarter observing.
All right, a week before new moon, deep sky objects whose opposition dates are a month earlier than the observing date are well placed for evening viewing.
Okay. So we're talking here about a week earlier, a week before new moon. So if we talk about that same new moon, the July 24th, 2025 new moon, a week before new moon, as you're approaching new moon, the evening sky is moonless. And if the evening sky is moonless in the week prior to new moon, then if you want to optimize, make everything perfect, and never everything is going to be perfect, then you'd be looking for a deep sky object whose opposition date is a month earlier than the observing date. So here's July 17th, 1 week before this new moon. And if you look through the list of targets or look through wherever you want to look to find something that reaches its opposition on about July 17th, then one possibility would be the Ptolemy cluster. And then finally,
first quarter observing. A week after new moon, deep sky objects whose opposition dates are a month later than the observing date are well placed for morning viewing.
Okay, so after new moon, and you'll notice this if you go out in the sky, and a lot of you have already noticed this, but after you've passed new moon, then the days that follow, the moon will still be up in the evening hours, and then it will set. And then you'll have the late evening hours and the morning hours moonless. And if you want to take advantage of those, then you look for an object whose opposition date is a month later. So again, for that same July 24th, 2025 new moon, then a week later, so that's a week after this new moon, would put you at July 31st. The Wizard Nebula, which is a fun, super fun object if you haven't shot it, with an opposition date of August 31st, which is a month later than that date would be sort of optimally placed. But again, I think we said something about this in the last video. Things never really work out as planned. And even though you're in the days after a new moon, your morning hours are going to be free of the moon, and you can take advantage of them. Well, maybe the clouds roll in, or you have to get ready for work, or any of a number of things. And so you just try and get the time when you can. But this gives you sort of optimal conditions. Yeah.
It's awesome. Yeah.
Thanks so much for watching.
And we'll see you next time.